Hello guys, Nario again. Previously on how to successfully beat Xenosaga Episode 2, I showed you all how to properly do random encounters because, they can get pretty tough, and if you handle them well, then, you'll beat the game quite easily. So, first off, I have decided to not exactly start the game over or start a new file, but just show you all what to do at the very beginning of the game, especially if you never did beat Episode 1 to get the clear data file, because those gave you some benefits, like swimsuits for your characters and extra skill points. First up, what I want to show you all are what I would recommend to get for Chaos and Jin at the very beginning of the game. Now, first off, I thought I'd mention that Cosmos, Jr., and Momo are the only characters that you'll be using for most of the game. So, here you obviously can't use them because this is 14 years ago in the past, but with Jin and Chaos, there are skills you should get for them, just not as many. First, what I recommend is going into level 1, unlocking Class C, and getting all 4 skills here, which will give you more C points. Analyze, as I said before, was a very, very awesome skill. That will tell you what the enemy is weak against, and then you can attack its weak point for massive damage. So get that. Memory. As you saw in the previous video, hopefully, Cosmos sent an enemy up into the air, which allows you to do more damage to it if you boost another character while the enemy is in the air. These break zones can be initiated or broken or sequenced, however you want to put it, by pressing square, 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 triangle, triangle, square, or even square, square, boost a character, and then triangle, triangle. It's kind of complicated. But this memory skill, will actually tell you what the enemy's break zone is as soon as you've, broken it. So, if you figure out what the enemy's break zone is, you'll never ever have to remember it again, or even write it down on paper, or anything classic-y like that. This memory skill will tell you what the break zone is. So let's get that. Ether attack plus 2. It's good for Momo at least, because her regular attack uses Ether. And just get this. If you get all 4 skills, then you get more C points to use on other classes. And now level 2 classes are available because I've cleared one class in the level 1 tier. So you can unlock these now, but I would advise not doing that just yet. Next, I would advise unlocking Class A and then Class B. In Class A, if I had S points, I would recommend getting everything here, but mainly in particular, Medica, which is your cure in this game, and Refresh L, which cures all L status effects, mainly poison though. And in Class B, here we have a skill called Attacker. This is useful for Chaos and Jin for the boss fight here at the end of Old Miltia 14 years ago. And it's also good for Cosmos and Junior. What it does is it raises your physical attack and lowers your physical defense. Strength plus 2 and Vitality plus 2 is also very useful. Well, not very useful, fairly useful. After getting those, and of course, if you got all 4 of these, then you got more class points to use. After getting all of those for Jin and Chaos, I would recommend going to level 2, Class B, and getting Ice Sword and Aura Sword. The boss here is weak against Ice Sword in both of his phases, and Aura Sword, very, very much so, in his second phase. Chaos's regular attack, I can't even show you his regular attack right now because he's in the ES, the Gears of Xenosaga Episode 2. Crap. Chaos's regular physical attack is actually made of Aura, so you don't have to cast Aura Sword on Chaos, just Jin. I think that pretty much covers it for the skills. You don't need to get any more for them, really. Once you beat the boss here, you'll never use Jin or Chaos ever again. So, you'll want to get those same skills for Cosmos Jr. and Momo, but you will not be using these characters again, so you don't have to worry about them. And of course, if you had Episode 1 clear data file, you will actually start with more S points, so you could go ahead and work on more skills, like actually getting the rest of these elemental swords. And on top of that, you could also unlock this class, F, and get Ether Spear, which raises Ether attack and lowers Ether defense. This is very useful for Momo in conjunction with these swords here. But actually, instead of getting F after B, I would recommend going to C. I forgot about that. Because here we have Revert, which is like your super expensive Phoenix down. Or really, it's Revive. And Medica 2, which is pretty dang cool. And Medica All, which is alright. And Vaccine, I don't really care about it. But it's there to give you more C points once you clear that whole class, so that's okay. So yeah, I would mainly just recommend getting those skills for Cosmos, Junior, and Momo, and you're pretty much good to go for almost the rest of the game. And just get whatever you want after that. Okay, now that I've shown you all that stuff, now I'd like to show you some ES battling. Also, if you touch these save points, you will heal completely. It's just like Final Fantasy X. So cool. You could, like, grind forever with your humans. Just as long as you're able to beat the battles and go back to the save point. Yeah, great stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention. When you get your ESs, eventually you'll see three ESs at the bottom. Right now I only have one because that's what the game starts you off with, but later on you'll be getting Dina and Zebulon. You'll actually want to throw away Asher because Asher cannot use Ether, nor can Dina. Only Zebulon can because Momo's in that ES, and Momo's like this Ether house. Yeah, really. So, basically, Asher, its attacks aren't very good at all. They're good for physical stuff, but as far as combining it with Zebulon, it's not very good. If you go to its tech, you'll see that it does a lot of strike and pierce attacks, nothing beam related at all. And there are enemies that are weak against beam, and that's what Dina specializes in. So I'd recommend getting Dina instead of Asher. But like I said, you are forced to use Asher right now, so, you know, you have no choice. After this, I'll get into a forced encounter. If I was using Zebulon right now, I could actually use Analyze on the enemies and see what they're weak against. But I know that they're weak against the square attack, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. But of course, you know, if I had Analyze, it would tell me that it's weak against Strike and not Pierce. So, yeah. You'll be wanting to use Strike against these guys instead of Pierce. If Analyze told you to, that is. And here they're giving you a bunch of tutorials. You'll never see these tutorials ever again, so if you forget them, you're kind of screwed. They even said, now you're on your own. Yeah, no kidding. And now, one last thing before this video reaches 10 minutes. I would like to show you how to initiate traps properly. Most people never could get this, but no matter how slow you walk with just the left stick, the enemies will always think you're running if you're not holding the R2 button down. So right now I'm going to hold down the R2 button. It'll make me walk slow.